This video is dedicated to Antonio Rouse. Antonio, thank you. Ardenn Intrepid Archaeologist and Kediss Emberclaw Familiar versus Lazav the Multifarious, Kenrith the Returned King and Gonti Lord of Luxury. And that's quite the opening hand for us, isn't it? We've got... it's a shame it's a colourless land because we'll have a lot of colourless mana, but I'm not going to complain at all that mana that we're going to have, and a tutor, 2 tutors in hand. All that, and we're on the play, so let's go for Windswept Teeth, and we will crack that for a duel. And then we'll play the Mana Crypt, and I'm not sure if to go for the Sol Ring or not. I don't want my opponents to scoop on me, we are up against randoms. So maybe we just go for Ardenn here? No, I think we need to maximise our mana as best we can, especially if we're going to paint a huge target on our head by getting into fast mana, so let's go for the Sol Ring and then Ardenn. And then we can set up a tutor next turn and hopefully get into some good equipment. Just some tap lands from our opponents, apart from Lazav who shocked in a Watery Grave, that's noteworthy. So there might be a Spell Pierce or Swan Song, something like that. And we do get bolted by Crypt, so during the upkeep we'll go for the Enlightened Tutor. And that gets through, so it might be that there's no counter magic, although there's still time to counter something yet. I think we want to get into card draw, so we'll go for the Sword of Fire and Ice. We could potentially keep some creatures out of play with that as well. Play the Sword of Fire and Ice straight away, don't have to worry about the equip cost thanks to Ardenn. And then we might draw into a land, so I'm not going to play the War Room yet. Might be able to hold up that Path to Exile. So we select Ardenn, and then we select the equipment afterwards. And then we go through to attacks. We will go right down the middle, and we hit our opponent, so we'll shock the Dimir player as well, draw into a Kiri, so let's get the War Room out, and we can pass at that. Seems as though that's what they were holding up the black mana for. Entomb from Lazav. Then Gonti just playing a land and passing. Hypocrisite coming from Kenrith. I've only ever used this in Duretti, personally. That is, when it dies, exile it with 3-time counters on it and it gains Suspend, and then when it comes back in from Suspend, it has 3+ counters on it. An Ornithopter from Lazav. And I didn't actually look what they entombed for. Oh, it's the infamous Phyrexian Dreadnought, probably very similar to my 1v1 deck that we haven't played in the longest time. Diabolic Intent is a tutor. They sacrifice the Ornithopter, of course. And then it's back round to us. We get into Rayav, which we can't cast, so we'll try and draw a card. Turning towards the Dimir player this time. And that lands, so we will shock the Hypocrisite. And now into Wyleth. So we've got a couple of our new Boros card draw creatures, but no means of casting them, unfortunately, so I think it has to be Stoneforge Mystic now. And how's about Hammer of Nazan, so that we can keep our creature in play, or try to keep our commander in play, that is. It'll still die to exile. Now a Praetor's Grasp from Gonti, Lord of Luxury. We get to look at a card, or grab a card from our library, exile it face down. A Cultivator's Caravan from the 5-colour player, and are they going to exile something here? No, just tapping out with that. Okay, Thassa's Oracle. And the trigger goes on the stack. Oh wow, really? This isn't a EDH game. Yeah, no prizes for guessing what they tutored for last turn. Yeah, I know I got off to a stupidly fast start, but I mean, it is fair magic that I'm playing at least. Yeah, this is what's torturing EDH players at the moment, and it's very, very strange that my opponents decided to bring it to this table. Yeah, it turns out the mono black player isn't particularly happy with that either. Yeah, so obviously the Dimir player wins that one, if you count that as a win. But we have just decided to eject him, so the 3 of us can get on with the rest of the game. I'm sure it will be a 2-on-1 from here on out, as it probably should be. Okay, another equipment in some Forger. Really missing coloured mana here. I think I'm just going to go for War Room and try and draw into a coloured piece of mana. Alright, and managed to get into a mountain. So that means that we can go for Lazav, Master Weaponsmith, or a Kiri or Wyleth. I'd rather get down Wyleth and equip something to it straight away. So let's go for Lazav here. We can draw a couple of cards by swinging in with the Ardenn. Oh, and I've gone and selected the... I've gone and made the wrong selection there after being so careful the first time. Wanted to put the Sword of Fire and Ice on the Stoneforge Mystic. Could have gotten a little bit more damage out there. Doesn't matter, we'll still get the double strike and draw 2 cards here anyway. Obviously going to get 2 shocks as well. So we'll throw the shocks over at Kenrith. And managing to draw into another land, and there's Aurelia, so yeah, we're looking pretty good here. Solemn Simulacrum for Gonti. And then it's Lost Oromancers. And Essence Symbiote. And then back round to our turn. I am quietly confident that we've got it at this point. Another land for us. We'll crack that straight away and we'll get down another white source in Sacred Foundry. We'll go Path to Exile on the Solemn just to get that out of the way so that we can deal some combat damage here. Then we'll play the Kediss so that we can start dealing some damage to the Kenrith player as well as the Gonti player. Sunforger comes down and Hammer of Nazarn can put that onto the Stoneforge Mystic. We don't have Sunforger's ability up, unfortunately. Again, I suppose we could have put the Sword of Fire and Ice onto Lazav. My intention was to hold it back, but actually I think we can just swing in here, so yeah, probably should have put the sword on there in hindsight. Missing a bit of damage here and there. And with the first shock, we'll get rid of the symbiote. Draw into Swiftfoot Boots. We will shock the Kenrith player with the second shock. Alright, now we're getting into lands. Okay, here we go. So the double strike mounts up. And that gets commander damage on the mono black player. Knocks the Kenrith player down to 18 as well, so we've probably got them next turn thanks to Aurelia. Let's just put the Swiftfoot Boots into play and we'll put that on our dwarf. A Huntmaster Liger for the 5-colour player. So it hasn't exactly been a fair game, and technically we're coming in second place anyway. But yeah, we just got off to a stupidly fast start with all that fast mana. But I'll use this one to test the waters and see if any of you want to see more from Ardenn and Kediss. Obviously I'll go for a more fair game next time round. As for now, let's go for Aurelia the War Leader. And we'll dump all of the equipment onto her. So she swings in. She is an 11/6 with Pro Blue and Red, Double Strike, Hexproof, Indestructible, Flying, Vigilance and Haste. When she hits our opponent, we'll get to shock something and draw. And it doesn't really matter where the shot goes at this point. We've got them on the first combat because we can just fly over everything. Thanks to the double strike. So yeah, like I said, that was a pretty unfair one. My opponents were great sports there, so that's really good to see at least. I don't think this deck will perform that well every time. I think a lot of decks will just pull ahead of everyone and smash the table if they get into 2 massive pieces of mana in the early game, so it won't play like that every time, but this is a fun exhibition match to test the waters of this deck. If you want to see more from the deck, then be sure to let me know in the comments and leave it a like as well. I'm tribalkai on the EDH channel. Thank you for watching.